So hi everyone, welcome back everyone. So we have been discussing about the male reproductive system and we have already discussed, we have covered till the TS of penis, right? So now today we'll be discussing about the accessory glands first of all. Accessory glands. What we'll be discussing? We'll be discussing about the accessory glands. What? The accessory glands. Accessory glands. If we talk about the accessory glands, so what do they help in? They do not help to attain the desired function, but they add to that function, right? So that's why they are called as accessory glands, right? In accessory glands, we have the seminal vesicles, prostate gland, and bulbourethral gland. That we have already discussed, and it is also called as Cowper's gland. It is also called as Cowper's gland, right? So that's what we have already discussed. Now, if we talk about the seminal vesicles, right? If we have to discuss about the seminal vesicles, so these are paired glands. These are paired glands. They can be saccular as well as insecular, right? They are 5 centimeter long, right? And they secrete the seminal fluid. What do they secrete? They secrete the seminal fluid. Now, if we talk about the seminal fluid, right? So seminal fluid has certain chemicals like prostaglandins, right? What does it have? It have prostaglandins, right? Along with that, what does it have? It have certain sugars like the fructose sugar. That's why the taste of semen, it feels like the ice cream. Okay, it feels like ice cream to people. Okay, so because of the fructose sugar, it is a fruit sugar, right? Everyone know that it is a fruit sugar. Now let's move on. Let's discuss about the uses of the seminal fluid. So this seminal fluid, it is used in activation of sperms. First function is activation of sperm, and second is it helps in contraction of female reproductive tract. FRT, that is female reproductive tract. So what does it help in? It help in the contraction of female reproductive tract. In result, what does it do? Yes, in result, it helps in the forward pushing of the, or if we talk about the sperms, or it takes the sperms towards the cervix and all, right? So that is the use. These are the uses of the seminal vesicles or the seminal fluid what they secrete. Now moving further, we have the prostate gland. Now the prostate gland, they secrete their secretion into urethra. They secrete their secretion into urethra, and secretion, it is mainly composed of bicarbonate ions and few lipids, right? And citric acid. Now, if we talk about the bicarbonate ion, that why do we need bicarbonate ion? So this bicarbonate ion, it balances the acidic pH of vagina. What does it do? It balances the acidic pH of vagina, right? And the pH of semen is around 7.4. The pH of semen is around 7.4. Now, if we talk about the next gland, that is bulbourethral gland or Cowper gland, what do they help in? They help in secretion of Cowper's gland. They help in the secretion of mucus. What does it do? It lubricates the vagina during coitus. It lubricates the vagina during coitus, right? So we call it as precum, right? So precum is basically, what is it? It is the secretion of the Cowper's gland, right? Now, if we talk about a semen is just not the sperm, but it is the plasma, seminal plasma, which has a secretion of seminal vesicle, the prostate gland, as well as the Cowper's gland, right? So that is semen. And what happens? Insemination. That is the entry of sperms in female reproductive tract, right? That is called as insemination, and it takes place with the help of a sexual intercourse. With the help of a sexual intercourse. Fine. So that's what we have already discussed about the accessory gland. Now, let's draw our attention towards the female reproductive system now. The anatomy of the female reproductive system. What we'll be discussing now? We'll be discussing about the morphology and anatomy of the female reproductive system. Morphology and the anatomy of the female reproductive system. Now, if we talk about the female reproductive system, so there are few things that we need to take care of. So first thing that we have here is our primary sex organ. And primary sex organ here is ovaries. What is it? It is ovaries, right? And these ovaries, they secrete ovum and female sex hormones. Female sex hormones, right? So that's what is being secreted by the ovary. Then we have the secondary sex organs. So these secondary sex organ, what does it made up of? Uterus, fallopian tube, cervix, and vagina. And mesentery. What is this mesentery? This is thin mucus fold. Thin mucus fold, right? So that is the, the outline of the female reproductive system. Fine. So in female reproductive system, we have the primary sex organs. Primary sex organ would be associated with just with the, gametogenesis, as well as it can secrete certain hormones. Now, let's move on to the ovaries. If we see the structure of ovary, it is like this. I am making a rough diagram. Okay, where is it present? It is present in the pelvis. Okay, ovary is 8 centimeter long and around 5 centimeter wide, right? And it is suspended into a position with the help of mesentery, right? Suspended with the help of mesentery. Fine, mesentery. There is a mesovarium as well, right? What is mesovarium? Mesovarium is the, it helps in the, what we say, attachment of the ovary to the walls of the abdomen. It is mesovarium. It is mesovarium. Now, if we talk about the fallopian tube, so fallopian tube is also called as oviduct, right? So let me just draw the structure of fallopian tube. I hope the ovary is clear. So we'll be discussing about the histology, how exactly the gametogenesis takes place in ovary. So meanwhile, let's just dive deep into the anatomy of the oviduct. Now, when we talk about the oviduct, so this is the arm-like structure, right? It has certain swellings here, and then we have this, right? Now, this swelling is also called as ampulla, right? So this swelling, these swellings are called as ampulla. This curve is called as isthmus, right? And then we have this cup-shaped structure is called as infundibulum. And finally, we have this fimbriae, right? And This opening is called as ostium. Ostium means opening only, right? And this is the fundic part. This is the fundic part. Now, if we talk about the fallopian tube, the main function here is fertilization. Fertilization. And where does this fertilization takes place? It takes place in ampullary isthmus junction here. Where does it takes place? Ampullary isthmus junction. Fine, this is the structure of the fallopian tube. Now, if we talk about the uterus now, right? So uterus is a big structure basically, or it is the house of the womb. It is the house of the, so that's how the structure is. So we have been making such diagrams, I guess. Fallopian tube, right? So it has 3 layers, okay? Endometrium, mesometrium, and perimetrium. Perimetrium, middle layer mesometrium, and internal layer endometrium. Internal layer is called as endometrium, right? And yes, that's what is there. Now, if we talk about the opening of the uterus towards the vagina, so there are 2 things. One is the internal orifice, internal opening, and one is the external orifice. So external orifice is outer side. Orifice is nothing, it is a hole or the opening, and this is internal orifice. So what happens? The sperms, they travel to the site of fertilization, right? Now, let's move on to the vaginal part now. Now, if we talk about vagina, so this is the cervix, right? So this cervix has a very thin membrane, right? Okay, very thin membrane, and that is called as hymen. What do we call it as? We call it as hymen, right? So this hymen, if we talk about, so this is considered as the sign of virginity. Though this is a very stupid thing to, to judge someone's virginity on this hymen, and even if that person is virgin or not, that doesn't matter at all, right? But this is the, what you say, hymen, right? So hymen breaks during the sexual intercourse. That's why the first intercourse have blood in it. What does it have? It have blood in it, right? Because of the breakage of hymen, right? So that's how the virginity is determined. But for me, it's a very, I would say, not a good thing or to judge someone, okay? Because it's their personal choice. Fine. So let's move on to the next part. Next part is vagina. Vagina, what is this vagina? Vagina is nothing, but it is the opening, right? Vagina. Now, if we talk about the structure of the external genitalia, right? We'll be drawing the structure of the external genitalia. Let me just erase everything out. Now, the external genitalia has the outermost covering, and this outermost covering is called as labia majora. It is called as labia majora. Labia majora. Now, labia majora has an internal fold, or the, sorry, it's not a opening, it's a fold. This is called as labia minora. Labia minora. Now, if we talk about, there is a, some specialized structure, the hanging structure, which is called as clitoris. What do we call it as? We call it as clitoris, and it resembles the male penis, right? Because it has the corpora spongiosum present. So it is also called as female penis. It is also called as female penis. Then we have one opening. This opening is called as vestibule, right? Okay, this opening is called as vestibule. Vestibule is for the open, uro opening. Sorry, not genital opening, just the uro opening, urine opening. What is happening? Yeah, fine. And then we have the another that is called as the Bartholin's gland. There is a one gland as well, which is present here, which is called as Bartholin glands. And what does it do? It secretes mucus. It is called as Bartholin's gland. And what does it do? It secretes mucus, which basically, you know, lubricated, right? And this external genitalia is called as vulva. What do we call it as? Vulva, right? So then this part of the genital system, if we talk about, this is covered with hymen. This is covered with hymen, right? Okay, fine. So that is the structure of the female reproductive system, right? Or this is the external genitalia. Now we have one more important, thing that is also part of the female reproductive system. That is the mammary gland. We are mammals, right? So every one of us have this mammary gland. Now, if we talk about the mammary gland, we have first thing is nipple, right? From nipple, the milk comes out. Then we have certain dark region, right? And this dark region is called as areola. What do we call it as? We call it as areola. Now, this nipple is connected to an ampulla, and this ampulla is finally connected to the lactiferous glands. What does it connected to? It is connected to lactiferous gland, which secrete milk. Lactiferous gland. Or you can also write it as OUS, not a problem. And we have some tissues, which surrounds these lactiferous gland. These tissues are adipose connective tissue. These tissues are adipose connective tissue. So that's all about the anatomy of female reproductive system, right? So this is the anatomy of the female reproductive system. So next, what do we have? We have the gametogenesis. So we'll discuss in it in the next segment. Till then, take care. Bye bye. Thank you for watching, everyone.